Welcome to today's event showcasing the Michigan Regional Council of Carpenters and Millwrights. My name is Elizabeth Bernhard, and I have the pleasure of serving Youth Solutions as the Partnership Engagement Manager. Youth Solutions is a statewide nonprofit inspiring and connecting youth to achieve a future beyond imagination. I wanted to point out that this event is being recorded and specialists are broadcasting today's discussion to the youth in their classrooms. So throughout the event, please use the chat feature, ask your questions, and at the end, you can go off mute to ask the questions yourself. In the last few minutes, I'm proud to say that we'll be giving a prize drawing for two $25 Amazon gift cards to the youth in attendance today. So if you are a youth and you wish to participate, please take this time right now to put your full name into the chat box. And specialists, like always, if you are broadcasting this event to your classroom and your youth wish to participate, please enter all of their names into the chat box as well. At the end of this event, we will randomly select two winners. With that, I'm happy to introduce my colleague and friend, Leah Gordon.
Hello, everyone. Like Elizabeth said, welcome, welcome. Allow me to introduce our amazing participants, the Carpenters Union. So today you'll hear from Vancy Pruitt. She is a millwright apprentice. You will hear from Frank Hines. He is the curriculum coordinator from the Apprenticeship School. And you will hear from Juan Ortiz. He is a business agent, but a carpenter by trade. And then you will hear from Jamal All, who is also a business agent, but he is a millwright by trade. So, and first up, we'll have Vancy. Hold on one second, screen share here. Ready. You'll have Vancy, you'll hear from Vancy talk about her time in the 2019 Carpenters Boot Camp. And she will explain how she got into becoming a millwright. But first, let me share with you a short video about the 2019 Summer Boot Camp.
We created a summer boot camp for kids that have never been exposed to any kind of construction before.
Well, this program got off the ground by me and Jamal L. putting it together and trying to get kids involved in carpentry and give them basic knowledge of carpentry skills.
We also made sure that all of the students or the participants had workforce development training or soft skills. So we made sure that they all completed a resume, did interviewing skills, things of that nature, and really just prepared them for work and hopefully the skilled trade.
We went through a qualification process with Michigan Works and brought in 50 kids and invited them to the program. They're getting paid $10 an hour, but none of these kids are thinking about the pay. They're having so much fun, they're excited, they're learning some skills, they're learning basic carpentry, stuff they've never done before.
I learned different various things. I learned how to build, I learned how to measure, the measuring tape, I learned how to work with a team.
It's about making new friendships and actually having fun about actually where you work. And carpentry is what I never actually thought I would be here for, because I'm a girly girl. I never thought I would hammer stuff.
I got to make new friends. I got to have hands-on experience. I got to have more connections.
Okay, this is our Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Gilchrist. Give him a big hand. Hey, are you guys having fun? Yeah! Are you learning something?
Yeah! I've learned so much more in the, 8 days we've been here so far than I've learned ever in my life, and I'm loving it.
I think it's a really good experience. And
Yeah.
also, my dad was in the union.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's really nice because he died a few years ago.
Oh,
and
my
I never got
goodness.
to talk to him about it.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
it's really nice to be in a place with the union and everything.
That's almost poetic. Yes, yeah.
So experience it a little bit and see what his life was like when he was learning and everything.
Totally. They're learning a lot, and you know what? To me, they're off the streets and they're in a program for the summer. And that's the most important thing, as well as the skills that they're taking away from here.
This is great. I'm excited. It was an amazing event.
Better than we had hoped for. We're hoping to duplicate this process next year.
Yes, I look forward to doing this same program again next year. And we're going to involve this in other apprenticeship schools around Michigan.
This union is amazing. The work that you do every day, the way that you're inspiring young people, training professionals for the jobs of today and tomorrow. This is so important to the future of the state of Michigan.
And allow me to introduce Ms. Vancy Pruitt to explain her experience.
Hey guys, I'm Vancy. That video brings back so many great memories because when I joined the boot camp, I had no experience at all. I didn't even pick up a hammer in my own backyard at home. And from day one, I was learning. I had my hands on all the materials, and I got to be part of a team and learn so many life skills, let alone just, the carpentry stuff. And it inspired me to just to keep moving forward and to keep, following my dream of, getting into the trade and, getting my hands dirty, because I was great in school, academic wise, but I knew that I was meant for something else. And being a lady, most people don't expect you to get your hands dirty, to get down and, work hard. And that's what I do. And so during the boot camp, I got to lead a team of 15 and 16-year-olds in building those hunting blinds, playhouses that you saw. And, we were, no one just held our hand while we did it. We actually did that stuff ourselves. And when the whole program was over, there was a sense of satisfaction because, you didn't just sit at a desk and listen to someone talk for 8 hours a day. You did that yourself. And, you were proud of that. So after the boot camp, for one thing, I got my certificate for the boot camp, and I got hours of participation, and I was going to be a carpenter. I knew for sure. But then I read up on Millwrights, and I knew that being a carpenter, I could go out, I could build houses, I could do so many things, but being a millwright challenged me more. And so when that was my junior year, summer before senior year. And so I went into a construction tech class, a vocational tech class, and I built a full house there and learned even more of the skills that I apply in my Millwrights apprenticeship. And I got into the National Technical Honor Society, which was another great achievement. And with that, I also got OSHA certified. I got my OSHA card. Every single step of the way, I had achievements, and I felt a sense of belonging in the world. I felt like I could give back to my community, and this was the best way to do it. And so now I'm a Millwrights apprentice. I go to school and I get to weld, and I get to expand on some of the basic fundamentals that I was taught during boot camp. And every day I walk out of a plant, maybe a car plant or any other plants that we go into, and I feel satisfied. I feel like I put in a hard day's work and that, it meant something. So I encourage you, all of you, I'm only 19, by the way. I went to the boot camp when I was 17. I joined the union when I was 18, straight out of high school. 3 days after I graduated. I'm a COVID kid, by the way, so class of 2020. 3 days after, I was on the job. And so there's no stopping you guys. If you guys want something, you guys can go out and get it. You guys can do it. You just got to put your mind to it. and doesn't matter how old you are. Right now, the money that I got to make during, while I've been in the apprenticeship, I bought a car, my own car. I have my own apartment. I moved in like a week ago. I am doing things that I didn't think that I was going to be able to do when I was 17. And now, the sky's the limit. You just got to work hard, put in a good attitude, and it doesn't matter whether you've never picked up a hammer before or you don't even know the name of a screwdriver. Your union brothers and sisters, because yes, there are a lot of sisters too. They'll help you. They'll help you along the way. You'll never feel like, they'll be like a second family. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Vancy. That was so inspiring and awesome. And congratulations with all of your great accomplishments. Your story about being in an apprenticeship with the brothers and sisters is a great segue into Mr. Frank Hines. He is the curriculum coordinator for the Apprenticeship School. But really quickly, I'd like to share another short video about the Apprenticeship School, and then Frank, you can take it away.
One day I sat back on my bunk and I was thinking to myself, what am I going to be in 5 years? I got kids. How will I be able to raise them? I can't keep going to the streets because that's just going to keep me away from them.
28-year-old Detroiter Tykees Banks just started as a carpenter's apprentice. His last gig, the Department of Corrections. 3 years for selling drugs.
I was ready to work the moment they walked me out to prison. I took this opportunity and I never looked back.
Mr. Banks gave me a phone call. He sounded extremely excited to have the opportunity to get a job, so we signed him up, and here he is today.
Pontiac Ceiling and Partition is finishing up a new building in Novi.
We did the exterior framing and sheathing and started doing the interior partitions, the drywall, basically from the ground up.
Banks is here because the Michigan Council of Carpenters and Millwrights worked with the Corrections Department to create a new training program behind bars. Juan Ortiz is a part of that.
When I met Juan Ortiz, he came and spoke to us, and everything that he was saying, I had been in his shoes, he'd been in mine. I listened to him, and I just stuck with it. And I gave him a call the first morning I walked out of there. Pretty much wrapped up here.
Ortiz, another Detroiter, did time himself a couple decades ago. Then he hung drywall, moved up the ranks. Now he's advocating for the union and other returning citizens.
We're all out educating, schooling people on our trade, trying to recruit people into our trade, and we still can't find the people. So we need people, they're not there.
People, they need to be trained, on the job and in the classroom.
Volume of a cylinder, the formula is V equals.
This class covers math at the trade union's office in Ferndale. It's the front end of the pipeline for returning citizens into the trades. Ishard Odin is one. Odin served 20 years in prison. He too connected with Ortiz.
Well, I'm doing residential construction right now, but I really want to make more money. So I believe the money is in commercial. And it's probably less taxing on your body than residential. So, I'm 40 now.
We've had like 20, 25 guys come out of prison and come through us that are waiting to get in. Because the classes only start every so many semesters. So there's guys still waiting to get into the school.
Soon they'll have more room in a new building, breaking ground next spring in a West Side Detroit neighborhood.
We're going to get a brand new school that we're going to be able to take pride in because the Shard's going to help build it. Right. And we're going to get to see it get built by Detroiters in Detroit. And we're going to take pride in that. We're going to have pride.
More classrooms means more people to work. Meanwhile, Ortiz needs more employers like Dave Tomlinson.
I feel like we're on the forefront of this program and working with it, and we're willing to take that risk, and I think it's going to pay off for us.
When guys are trying to help you as much as you want to help yourself, you can become the person I am today. Right now, I'm just happy to be home, working, making a good living, and staying out of trouble. 25 years to dedicate
to this. All right, and sorry about that. Allow me to introduce Mr. Juan Ortiz.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name's Juan Ortiz, carpenter, business agent. Been a carpenter for 26 years. Joined the Carpenters Union. I was working non-union, and I joined the Carpenters Union and worked my way up through the ranks to become a business agent. What got me into carpentry was going to prison, getting out of prison, and not having nothing else to do. So I figured I better learn how to do something. So carpentry is what I picked, and I made a good choice. And I feel like when I was young in school, I was always that guy that chose to do things my way, not listen. And it got me to where I was at in prison. So after I got out, I decided to change my ways. I didn't want to end up like the guy on the side of the road panhandling. And I decided to get myself together and do what I did. And I got myself working. And I'm going to back up a little bit, but because of the decisions that I made to get me to prison, I have two sons that chose the same route that I did, and they ended up in prison. And they also went to prison, got out. I got a son that's a carpenter, and I have a son that's a millwright, and they're both doing great. And because of the organization that I'm in, they let me give back. So my way of giving back is to help guys out that are getting out of prison, and to talk to people and to help people and to let them know that when you're young and there's people there to help you, you need to take advantage of it and pick up the pieces and run with it. Because once you start getting older, there's no more excuses. You're going to have to take care of yourself, and you're less likely to get the help that you can get right now while you're young, and pick up the pieces and run with them, and not wait like I did. When you're older, take advantage of it while you're young and do something with it. And because of the position that I'm in today, I love to give back to the community and love to help people get into our organization, into a brotherhood, sisterhood. I've helped a lot of people, and it's not me by myself. We do it all as a team. And that's another beauty of it, that you got a lot of people that you can rely on. Once you get into our union, there's a lot of people that you can pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm going through this or I'm going through that. And you get the help one way or another, and you can achieve it and live a great career.
Thank you, Juan. That was definitely very inspiring, and a great segue into Frank talking about the apprenticeship school and how to get into the union if you're interested.
Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Hines. I'm one of the coordinators at the Carpenters Apprenticeship School. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I started out in the trade as 17 years old. My intention was to go to college to be an electrical engineer. So I decided to work one summer with my dad as a carpenter. And one summer later, I was still doing it. So then I worked for the company, and they said, hey, we got to send you to apprenticeship school. And at the time, I never knew carpenters had apprenticeship school. So I signed up at the apprenticeship school, did my 4 years at the apprenticeship school, became a foreman for the company I worked for 10 years. After 10 years for the company, I came back to the apprenticeship school and became an instructor, which I taught there for 20 some years. So then I moved up to coordinator at the school. So what I'm trying to tell you that, being a carpenter is not a job, it's a career. And each person that comes to our apprenticeship school, they start out thinking that it's no future in it. But each person that graduates become foreman, project managers, or even superintendents. And what's nice about the 4-year program, once you graduate, you can get up to 30 college credits, go towards the associate's degree in construction management. That way you're not out there, you beating up your body, using your tools, you're sitting at a desk, using your brain. It's definitely a good opportunity. You can call the school and get an application with us, or you can go to hammer9.com and get an application. It's definitely an exciting career. And then, like I said, I didn't get in it for the money. I got in it because I love working with my hands and working with my brain. It's good opportunity for any young person or even any adult to get into the trade.
Frank, how much does it cost to go through school?
Our apprenticeship school is 0%. You pay nothing to go to our school. You don't have to pay for tuition. You don't have to pay for books.
How often are you going to school?
Go to school once every 2 weeks. Provide you work and you get paid 8 hours pay by your contractor.
Awesome. What do they learn in those 4 years that transitions? How does that work from the school to the job site? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Basically, you got 90% of your training is going to be on the job site. So when you're inside the classroom, you're going to learn a little bit of soft skills. You're going to learn how to read blueprints. You're going to learn geometry. It's basically 16 core classes you're going to take there. Usually about your second year into the apprenticeship program, you're going to find out what part of the trade you want to get into. It could be residential framing, metal framing, concrete formwork, bridge work. Usually, like I say, about your second year in there, you're going to get a itch and say, yeah, I want to do this part of the trade. And you guys got to think, carpentry is the largest trade out there. So it's a lot of stuff that we do as carpenters. Most people think of it as a carpenter as just a person with a hammer and nail. But in fact, we're the ones that actually lay out the building. We're the first person on the job and the last person on the job.
So that pathway, Frank, from school, graduating school to becoming a journeyman, what are their options after that? And like you said, carpenters are running the jobs. How much the transition does it take for them? And can they learn any of those construction managers, superintendents? Where do they learn that at? How do they understand that?
Usually you can take that up at a community college. That's where you're going to start at. We're going to teach you the basic knowledge there at the apprenticeship school. And a lot of students go to school while they're at the apprenticeship. So when they graduate from the apprenticeship school, they're moving right into those positions. So if you got the time to do it online or on the weekends, go for it.
So we have articulation agreements with these colleges for these kids, for our apprentices to get credit from the school to go to a construction managers program, for instance.
Correct.
Awesome.
And how many locations is the apprenticeship school at across the state of Michigan?
Well, we have 6 locations.
Can you say specifically like where across the state of Michigan?
We have one in Saginaw, one in Grayling, one in Marquette. Of course, the new one being built in Detroit, and we have one in Wayland.
Okay, and we have one from the chat. Which one would be closest to Grand Rapids?
That probably is going to be Wayland, which is also a brand new training center.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Frank. That was great information. And next, allow me to introduce Mr. Jamal Ah. He is a business agent for the statewide and also a carpenter by trade. And he's going to talk to you a little bit about the outreach programs that the Carpenter Union has as well.
Hey everybody, I want to thank you for joining us here today. I believe that the opportunity that you're going to hear is going to change your life if you decide to come to it. I'm a millwright by trade, and coming up through the ranks, I'm just going to give you a little bit about my backstory. I grew up in a rough area. I was very fortunate that I had a mentor that mentored me to stay playing sports. There was an easy option, an easy button, real easy button to go down a bad path, you know, and end up somewhere. I'm glad truly I didn't. I had my sister who did, and that didn't work out too well for her. She's not with us anymore. But I was fortunate to stay on that straight and narrow path and get to college playing football. It was an experience for me. It took me out of the neighborhood that I was in and showed me there was a lot more to life than just running the streets. And so I stayed down that path. I got into business at an early age, and through learning about business and people, I actually met a friend of mine who told me about this opportunity. Now, mind you, I'm in business already. Got my own restaurant. I'm going through. I'm making money, but you know what? It wasn't self-gratifying. When he told me that there was this Millwrights program, I'm like, what is that? Well, you measure with all these precise tools, and you get to work and build factories, and you see all these cars come 3 years before they even come out onto the market, and you get to build the lines for them. You're in the power plants, you're doing all these cool things. And I'm like, really? That really intrigued me. Through high school, I had 3 years of machine shop, which was similar, using all these precise measuring tools. I was foreman of my class. I really enjoyed that. So I looked into being a millwright, and next thing I know, I sold everything and I jumped head in and worked my way up through the ranks. I was unfortunate. I got hurt on a job, and I was at the crossroads of I couldn't perform that job anymore. We carry, a bunch of tools, and I just couldn't do it anymore. We're up and down into the different buildings. I couldn't climb anymore. I was really at the crossroads of what am I going to do? And I truly, truly understood the pathway of pensions, healthcare, people helping me, people looking out for me, the team that was there, the family that was there. I loved it. It was, growing up, the streets, those were our family. That's where we grew up, and this kind of really fit into that lifelike. That fit into how I grew up, because, it's funny that you could say you went through that, but ultimately the streets is what raised you. The people on the streets, the friends that you make, the families, because really the families is who it was. And that's what this feels like, is that family. And so going through those crosshairs, I had to decide what I was going to do. Well, there was a position open that was a 40% pay cut. And, I at that time I had just gotten married, and I talked to my wife, and I says, listen, this is going to be a hard choice, but you know what? I love this. This is where I want to stay. This is where I want to retire. And I says, but we got to turn off the faucet, because your bills don't stop. You still got income or bills you have to pay, but my income wasn't there to satisfy those bills. So my wife took on another job, and that helped us get through. And I knew who I was and how hard I worked. I'd eventually get up to being a business agent, and that, because I didn't start out as that. I went from a millwright, I went to what they call an industry steward, who was the liaison between the contractors and the union. And, I still had benefits, but the pay wasn't there. I worked hard. I worked really, really hard. I showed them how dedicated I was. I showed them the mentality that I had. And next thing I know, I just kept moving up the ladder. And when the boss of the Millwrights saw how hard I worked, he says, you know what? I want you on my team. And that's when I got hired in to being a business agent for the Carpenters and Millwrights. And although I represent the Carpenter side of this program, again, I just worked hard. I didn't let anybody tell me no. There was no such thing as no in my vocabulary. There was no stop in my vocabulary. No matter what, I was the hardest worker on the job. I worked harder and smarter than anybody. I learned, I asked a lot of questions. I wasn't afraid to fail. Failing is part of growing. I wasn't afraid of that. And next thing you know, leadership changed at our top of the state, and I was asked to help out with a program called Career Connections. And as funny as this sounds, I had a stack of books put on my desk, and I was told to learn them and read them. And everybody knows that you're now having to read books that are really 2 inches thick, and there's probably 12 of them. And I'm like, oh my God. And he says, learn it, understand it, work with it, and run with it. As soon as they told me that, I knew what I had to do. I knew that I had to get into these. I dove into the books. I had to understand the program. I had to partner with as many schools as we can, because that program is a pre-apprenticeship program. Career Connections is a pre-apprenticeship program for the Carpenters and Millwrights Union. What does that mean, pre-apprenticeship program? Well, it's a high school program that they can implement into their CTE programs or their construction classes or their wood shops or their welding shops. And coming from there, you earn credits to walk into the Carpenters and Millwrights Apprenticeship School. And from there, I says, you know what, we have to do more. And so I partnered with Michigan Works, Leah Gordon and Kathleen Newton, and I says, we need to develop a program. And the program was the Career Connections Building Skills Summer Camp Boot Camp program. And so we developed the program as a team. This is all teamwork. This isn't on one individual. And that's the great thing about this. It's a team. And, you know, playing sports, I know all about teams. That's easy for me. And bringing people in to this team like this is, you know, look at, I got Vancy, who came out of the boot camp into apprenticeship. Frank Hines, who came out of the Carpenters journeyman into a coordinator at the school. Juan Ortiz, who motivated himself and worked hard to think beyond his early raising of himself and say, I need something better. And came into the Carpenters and then led himself into being a business agent. You know, these are all team. We all work together. It's so exciting because everybody brings something to the table. It's not just you. So partnering with Michigan Works and sitting down with Leah and Kathleen and their team, we created this summer boot camp. This summer boot camp is for kids ages 14 to 17 years old. We had 250 people apply. Out of 250, we narrowed it down to 125 that we interviewed, and I hired 50 participants to join us in the camp that was for the summer, 6 weeks long. They got paid for it. It was like a summer job, and they got to learn some basic skills of carpentry and had some fun. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I still love having fun. You know, I'm a character. I go into my weight room, you know, with the kids because I still coach high school football. And, you know, we break out into a dance. It's crazy. It's fun. It's something that, you know, you take away your individualism and you come together as a family. So creating this boot camp, it was a huge success. Huge success. We turned around and said, you know what? We got to go bigger. So we were going statewide last year, 500 kids into this program to all our schools. As you heard, we have 6 schools around the state of Michigan. We're going to run this program through all the schools, including Jackson and Monroe. And so there was going to be 500 kids. COVID hit, shut everything down. So now we're back at that point where almost like starting over, to engage people, to educate people, you know, to bring you guys into these programs so that we can expand it even more, you know, and get you guys down a path that we love. So this year, our camp is going to be in Detroit, Ferndale, and we're going to have another 50 there. We're also going to be in Monroe, and it's up on the line. It's in front of you, that number 424-2562. You can text CAMP to that number and fill out the Google Doc form that's there. And that brings you to us. That'll allow us to sit there and contact you to go to the next step. So guys, thank you very much for having me. I truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you heard the message from all of us and where we started in life and where we came to and where we're ending up. It's given us, honestly, a great opportunity, a great retirement. I'm going to be able to retire a good middle-class retirement for the rest of my life when I decide to go down that path. And, truly, truly, please come out, join.
Really quickly before you close, can you also talk about the out-of-school program as well for the 18 to 24-year-olds?
So talking with Leah, prior to Leah taking her new position, we wanted to start an adult program as well. We felt that if we gave people the start of understanding what it takes to get into the apprenticeship, learning how to use a tape measure, giving them some soft skills, teaching them OSHA 30, which we need on our job sites, I think we would get a heads up and a start, and you can come into the apprenticeship with some good backing already with you. Same process. The program starts in June, or actually May 31st, right? May 31st, and it's going to run till
July 8th.
July 8th. And honestly, it'll be a great, great camp, and you'll learn so much. And as well, it will be a paid work experience for you as well. The number is the same, 855-424-2562. And just text CAMP to that number and register, and come join us. Truly, it's amazing. It's amazing.
All right, well, thank you so much, Vancy and Juan and Frank and Jamal. And here's the information for the camp. Also, if you want to jump right in and go to the apprenticeship school, here's the number to call to apply for the apprenticeship school. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them now.
There was a question in the chat. What are the daily hours of the camp?
So the camp is going to run from 7 a.m. We have a morning class and an afternoon class. So it'll be split 7 a.m. to 11, and then the afternoon class is going to run from 11:30 till 3:30.
Jamal, we have a lot of program partners from various locations around the state. And if they're like me, they're probably thinking they want this camp in their area too. So can you speak to us about what you're thinking about in terms of taking this camp statewide? And if a program partner wants to be one of your partners in making that happen, how would they go about doing that?
You know, the great thing about the Carpenters and Millwrights, we are a statewide program. So our reach is everywhere. And from the UP down to the border of Toledo or Ohio and Michigan, all you got to do is reach out to myself or Leah or even yourself, Elizabeth, and we will get a program up and running in your area. I promise you, we will.
And I know you are a man of your word. So
absolutely.
JMG.
You don't have a word, you ain't good for nothing.
Right.
Exactly. Does anyone have any questions? Oh my gosh, I want to answer your guys' questions. Any of the youth or anyone? I want to tell you guys all about this.
Betsy, what do you like the most about what you do?
Well, so there's two aspects to that. The work-wise, I love like when I'm on the job site and everything, I love just being able to use a new tool every single day and learning about my tools. And I mean, I get to put a harness on sometimes and I get into lifts and I go like 75 feet up in the air. I go so high in the air and I'm installing headers. Like I go into empty buildings, empty plants, and I like from the first day that I get there to the last day that I get there, it's a complete change. It's empty first day, and the last day there's cars running. I saw the new Ford or the Bronco. I saw the Bronco finished on the line. It's sweet.
So if somebody's afraid of heights, do they have to climb that high?
Nope. You don't have to do anything. You can stay on the ground. A ground person is just as important as someone who goes into the lift, because you're then making sure the person in the lift is safe and anyone who's walking around the lift is staying safe. They're just as important.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Juan, what do you like best about your job?
What do I like best about my job?
Yeah.
Is being able to help people and to let people know that there's no racial barriers in what we do. As long as you get your skills that they teach in the apprenticeship schools, they don't care what you look like, what you smell like, how tall, how short. As long as you can come to work and do the skills that you learn, you'll make a lot of money.
So can you tell us a little bit about your outreach program that you and Kevin Craig are working on through Career Connections?
With the prisons?
Yes.
We go into the prisons and we get to help a lot of people that I can't believe in this day and age, with all the outreach that we do and all the outreach that we got, that there's still a lot of people in communities that don't know anything about our trade and how to get into it. It just amazes me when people come up to me and say, how do I become a carpenter? How do I become a millwright? I'm like, we're all over the place. It's easy. But I have to remind myself that in a lot of communities, there's a lot of homes where a lot of kids don't get to see somebody going to work or get to see somebody get up every day and have a job. So me personally, them are the people that I like to reach out to, because I like to give them that opportunity and show them a pathway. And then in return, I tell a lot of the people that we help, when you go to work every day, there might be a kid down the street that you know, or a nephew or a niece, that you can say, hey, this is what I do for a living. And you just opened the doorway for them that they would have never knew about, because they get to make great money. A lot of the guys that we've helped, like Ashard, Tykees, Hamilton, there's a lot of guys, they call me up and they're like, hey man, I just want to thank you. And I'm like, the way you can thank us, spread the word, because we're out here, we're doing what we do. You know what I mean? And that to me, that's gratifying all in itself.
I just want to say you guys have done an awesome job. I was fortunate to be able to talk to a few of the guys, and they were so humbled and happy that you guys got into the prisons and started, having the Carpenters and Millwrights partner with the prison systems and get them a pathway to us. So that we're very, very, very excited about that. Yeah. And it's going to be wonders. It's going to continue to be wonders.
And
we're growing, right?
Yeah, we're supposed to head into the women's prison, but before COVID, it closed everything down. We never had that opportunity, but we're waiting for this to get over with so we can head into the women's prison, because like we said, we got sisters in the brotherhood. So that's why I say, I think that's one of the most fantastic things, is that there is nothing that can hold you back. Once you create your own skill set, people will have you on their job and they'll love you for knowing what you know how to do.
So you had a career fair at the Rensen. Tell us a little bit about that and how that went, because I was excited, being the coordinator for the state of Michigan with Career Connections and hearing that, there's other states. Tell us about that, because that was exciting to me.
We had a career fair at the prison for the Bureau of Prisons. And even that was great, because we had prisons from all over the United States come and join. They sent people to come and sit and listen to us, and they were just fascinated by the way we could help people, to bring them in. We help people come right out of prison and they don't have to go back. You don't have to go back. There's an outlet. You get a job. You can pick up the phone, call me, Jamal. You can call Frank Hines. Hey, I'm having a problem. Guess what? They help you solve that problem. And it's just, they were amazed by it. I mean, they were amazed by what what an organization like ours can do, and we continue to do. You know what I mean? Like Jamal says, we do it as a team, but it's a big family. And like I said, the most beautiful thing about it to me is that there is no racial barriers. There's none. If you carry it in your heart and you want to make something of yourself, to come into a trade, and I don't care what trade it is. It can be a plumber, it can be a welder, it can be an electrician. But once you learn that skill set, the sky's the limit as far as making money. I mean, me as a carpenter, I'd go to work during the day and I'd work out in the field for my boss and I'd get a paycheck. And guess what? Everybody knew I was a carpenter. Hey, Juan, after work, can you come build this for me? Can you fix this? On the weekend, can you fix this? The money that you can make, for me, legally is unbelievable. Because you can, to me, and like I like to tell the guys that come out of prison, I took my hustle to the next level. And that's how I look at it. It's a hustle that you can take to the next level and continue it as far as you want to go with it. You can start your own company. I mean, there's carpenters that start their own companies and they're millionaires. I mean, it's unbelievable where you can take yourself in a trade as long as you apply yourself, you're willing to listen and you're willing to learn and open, you know what I mean? And I like to tell people, look, keep your ears open. For me, that was a hard thing. And keep your mouth shut, don't judge. And if you can learn to do that and learn to take people telling you how to do things, you can carry your life a long, long way. And I'm living proof of it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And Kelsey, I know we have the raffle that we have to get underway. But Juan, Jamal, Vancy, Frank, thank you so much. To the specialists, we can get the flyer for the camps out to you, the telephone number for the Carpentry School. Elizabeth dropped the number, the text line number in the chat. So if anybody needs that, you can get it from there. We can get the flyers out to everybody. And if anybody's interested in the apprenticeship school, we have that number as well for the school. Kelsey?
Actually, I'm going to jump in here, Leah. Thank you very much. Kelsey has provided me with the names. So the two winners of our $25 Amazon gift cards are Alec Armstrong and Zach Kalia. So if you are those young people, please send me your mailing address in the chat box. We can mail this to you. If you are a specialist and you entered their names, please make sure to contact me so that I can get their mailing addresses. With that, we thank you all for being with us today. Jamal, Frank, Juan, Vancy, the four of you are an inspiration. The passion you have for your career pathway, the passion you have for your work and for giving back is palpable. I know that I'm not alone when I say that. Thank you so very much for giving us your stories and your time and your passion. And we look forward to continuing this partnership with you and to taking these programs statewide. With that, Team JMG, thanks for being here today. See you next time.